the battlefield of Kairos. 9 was never meant to exist. According to galactic law, the moon was a protected archive world, its ancient crystalline forests preserved as a living record of a civilization long extinct. But laws only mattered when someone strong enough enforced them. And today, enforcement had arrived in the form of steel, plasma, and screaming skies. Captain Veilira Threx, spear commander of the Aurelian Guard, stood alone at the center of a shattered clearing. Her four-armed silhouette was framed by burning crystal trunks and drifting ash, her azure armor cracked and blackened. Around her, a dozen enemy forms tightened the circle, crag marauders, towering brutes clad in scavenged alloy and bone trophies. She had lost her unit. She had lost the evacuation route. And now, she was about to lose her weapon. Veilira spun, deflecting a plasma axe with the haft of her spear. The impact sent a painful vibration through her arms. She countered, driving the energized blade through a crag's chest plate. The brute roared, staggered, and fell, but the victory cost her precious seconds. A heavy blow struck from behind. Her spear shaft cracked. Veilira froze for half a heartbeat, disbelief slicing deeper than any wound. Aurelian spears were grown, not forged, biocrystalline weapons bonded to their wielder. They did not break. Another strike landed. The spear snapped cleanly in two. Silence rippled through the circle. The crag leader stepped forward, his massive frame blotting out the burning sky. His tusked grin was wide with triumph. "End of the line, Starguard," he growled in broken trade tongue. "Your ancestors will not record this day." Veilira dropped into a defensive stance anyway, broken spear halves raised. Her lungs burned. Her blood, violet and glowing faintly, dripped onto the scorched ground. She activated her comm implant. No signal. Of course. The crag raised their weapons, savoring the moment. Veilira felt fear, sharp and undeniable, but beneath it burned something hotter. Defiance. "If this is where I fall," she said softly in her native tongue, "then I fall standing." The crag leader lifted his axe. The sky screamed. At first, Veilira thought it was another orbital strike, perhaps the crag fleet finishing the desecration. But this sound was different. A violent tearing, like reality itself protesting. The clouds above twisted inward. A streak of fire punched through the atmosphere. The crag hesitated, confused, weapons lowering slightly as the burning object grew larger and larger until it slammed into the battlefield with the force of a meteor. The ground exploded. Shockwaves hurled crag warriors off their feet. Veilira was thrown backward, skidding across crystal shards. She rolled, armor screaming, and came up coughing just in time to see the crater. Something stood at its center. Not a machine. Not a drop pod. A person. He was tall, taller than most Aurelian, and built like a walking engine of muscle and scar tissue. His armor was matte black, scorched from atmospheric entry, bent along his back still venting steam. In one hand, he held a massive weapon Veilira had never seen before, part cannon, part blade. The figure looked around slowly. Then his helmet retracted, revealing a human face, sharp eyes, dark hair plastered to his forehead, and a crooked, almost amused smile. He glanced at Veilira, then at the ring of stunned crag. "Well," he said casually, voice amplified but warm, "this looks unfair." He rolled his shoulders, cracked his neck, and raised his weapon. "Mind if I enter the fight?" For half a second, no one moved. Then the crag roared in rage and charged. The human moved first. What followed was not a battle. It was a demonstration. The human fired his weapon once. The projectile didn't explode. It compressed. A gravity pulse slammed into the front line, crushing 3 crag warriors into the ground as if an invisible god had stepped on them. He leapt forward, actually leapt, covering 10 meters in a single bound, and swung the blade edge of his weapon. Energy flared, cleaving through armor, bone, and weapon alike. Veolyra watched in stunned disbelief as the human fought like a force of nature. He didn't just react, he predicted, anticipated. Every movement precise, brutal, efficient. A crag tried to flank him. The human didn't look. He fired backward. The marauder dropped, chest imploded. Within seconds, the circle collapsed, not inward, but outward. The crag began to retreat, fear replacing bloodlust. The leader bellowed orders, charging the human with a roar. The human met him head-on. Their weapons clashed once.
Twice.
On the third strike, the human shifted his stance, grabbed the crag by the tusks, and headbutt him, hard enough to crack the brute's skull. Then, with a grunt, he lifted the massive alien and hurled him into a burning crystal trunk. Silence fell again. The remaining crag fled into the forest, howling in terror. The human exhaled slowly, then turned to Veolyra. "You okay?" he asked, lowering his weapon. Veolyra stared at him, still gripping her broken spear. Yes," she managed. "You are human." "Last I checked." He smiled faintly. "Name's Elias Ward. Orbital Ranger Corps." She blinked. "You fell from orbit. Without a pod."
"Yeah."
Thrusters were acting up. He shrugged. Easier to just aim for the ground. Veolyra didn't know whether to laugh or faint. He walked closer, scanning her injuries with a quick glance. "You fought well. Most would have gone down minutes earlier." "My weapon broke," she said quietly, shame creeping into her voice. Elias looked at the shattered spear halves. His expression softened. "Still stood your ground," he said. "That counts." He extended a hand. After a moment's hesitation, Veolyra took it. His grip was warm, solid,
Alive.
The middle hours passed in wary movement. Elias helped Veolyra regroup with the few surviving Aurelian forces, holding off crag patrols with ruthless efficiency. Word spread quickly. A human had arrived. Not a fleet, not an army. One human. And that was enough. During a brief lull, they sat amid the ruins of an ancient spire. Veolyra watched Elias clean his weapon with practiced ease. "Why are humans here?" she asked. "This world holds no resources valuable to your species." Elias paused. "We intercepted crag transmissions. They were planning to wipe out the archive forests. Cultural genocide." He looked up, eyes hard. "We don't like bullies." Veolyra studied him. "Your species is strange." "Yeah," he said, smirking. "We get that a lot." Aurelian reinforcements finally arrived at dawn, sleek ships descending through clearing skies. The crag were gone, their invasion broken. As medics attended to the wounded, Veolyra stood beside Elias as commanders approached, their expressions a mix of gratitude and awe. "You changed the course of this battle," one said. "We owe you a life debt." Elias shook his head. "Just doing my job." Veolyra turned to him. "My people will record this day." He chuckled. "Hope you spell my name right." Before he departed, before the human ship carried him back into the stars, Veolyra returned something to him. Her spear. Or rather, what remained of it. "I will regrow a new one," she said. "But this will remind me." Elias accepted it carefully. "Of what?" "That even when a weapon breaks," Veolyra said, meeting his eyes, "hope can still fall from the sky." Elias smiled, saluted her with 2 fingers, and boarded his ship. As it vanished into orbit, Veolyra looked up, not with fear, but with wonder. Somewhere out there, humans were watching, and when the galaxy was at its darkest.